All right, so we're going to go over tinkercad, a very basic kind of thing I'm going to go over here. And tinkercad is very basic. You can pretty much play with it and learn it. But there are other videos. I'm sure you can find all kinds of stuff. And there's a tutorial that I link on our page. Anyway, so when you start, you come to this screen, tinkercad.com. And you can, if you haven't signed in yet, or if you haven't created an account yet, you can click the join now. And basically, we don't have a particular class that we're using, so use the create your personal account. And then I'm going to sign up with the, actually it's the account is through Autodesk. So there's like Fusion 360, which is much more complicated and advanced, but all these other kind of things to play with. Anyway, I'm going to hit done for now. Not now. So there is a tutorial, which is, you can play with that if you like, but let's forget that. I'm just going to go here and create a new design. Like to create a new design, it pulls you into the work plane, and you have a number of different things. You have all these different shapes over here, including hollow shapes, and you can actually find more shapes if you want to delve into that. Go into there and find stuff. Actually, shape generators kind of gives you all these tons of different types of things you can play with. But let's stick to basic shapes for this. We're going to keep this really quick. Sure, Joe, you're going to keep it really quick. So you can just kind of click on them, left click on it and drag it over and set it down in the work plane. And oh, moving. I can pan around the space by right clicking and moving my mouse. I can zoom by kind of scrolling, although my mouse is very sensitive, or interaction is very sensitive to this. I can move the object by grabbing this. I can raise it up by grabbing this arrow at the top. You'll see that it glows, changes to red. I'll get it back down to 0. You can grab these little boxes and you can do like that. Okay, so I could take and also change these. So if I wanted it to be a particular thing, 50, 50. And you can kind of manipulate other areas. You can use these to kind of change. You see all these are listed 20. I can adjust it there too as well. I can change the radius of the angles, so I can kind of get a different type of shape. We'll leave it square. Steps is sometimes more noticeable than others. We'll leave it simple. I can change the view of it. Right now we are in, I believe, perspective. So I can change it orthographic. Sometimes it's easier to join things together when you can see it in orthographic, but we'll stick with perspective for now. You can zoom in and out with those. Zoom in, frame it. Let's go back a little bit. Home, that brings you to the standard thing. You can also kind of manipulate it with this box up here. So whichever way you feel comfortable doing. So I can take another object. Will be really exciting and take a sphere. I can drop that over and do that. And I can select them both. I can either hold the shift key down and click both of them, or if I don't want to do that, I can drag a box around them. And then you'll notice these up here, this group got highlighted, or showing up. It's not faded like that one. So I hit that, it becomes one thing. So it's one object altogether. So it'll move together and change shape together. Now I can ungroup, say I didn't like that. I could also use the back button over here, the forward button, and trash, and duplicate, and copy. So you got to copy and paste, or if you duplicate, you just kind of create a bunch of them. But I want to ungroup it right now, and then I'll click off of it, and I'm going to click just the sphere. I'm going to make that a hole, essentially, or invisible. And then I'm going to grab them both again, and then when I join it, it takes a chunk out, so you can actually cut material out of an object. But let's go back and just get rid of that. Really exciting, grab another box. And sometimes I just did there, I grabbed this, and now I moved it up. So sometimes when I'm from here looking at it, I might not know, I might think I'm putting it right on top of it when it's hovering above it. So sometimes it helps to make sure you move to the different viewpoints before you join things together. And sometimes I hit things and they go way off into nowhere. But anyway, let's move this guy over here. It's kind of hovering there, and we're going to change him. Let's change that back to 20. Actually, 20. Yeah. Actually, no. I'm going to change it to 40, 45. And I'm going to change that one to 45. Okay. So now it's 5 whatever segments smaller than that one over there. And we're going to change the height. I kind of click on it to get that to stay. Change the height to 25. Basically, I want to join these together. So this is going to be a hole inside that. And I could bring it over and set it on top and then click them both and join them. But I'm going to make this a hole. And then I want to put it right dead center in there. Now, one way that you could do that by just kind of dragging it over and trying your best. But you can also grab them together and then hit a line up here. So I get all these little dots. So I can see this dot. It kind of gives me an idea where it's going to go. I can do that. And then I can see this, puts it over the top of it. That one, this brings it down to there. So I can get it to there. Centered. So now I've got it, after playing with those little dots for a little bit, I've got it kind of centered where I want it to be. It's going through. I can drag this up a little bit so I have a little bit of a bottom. I could have measured and stuff. But anyway, now when I join them together, it is perfect as I can get it. But the align can help you do things like that. Like I can cut that out. But anyway, so now that that's joined together, I can move it around and do stuff like that, if I so desire. Again, I can pan by right-clicking, or just move it around by left-clicking it on the plane. One of the other things that's in here that's fun to play with, maybe not, I can drag over a scribble, and I get this, and now I can kind of scribble something out. Or you could take your time and draw something. It's going to be a preview, and then if I like that, I'm going to hit done. Decided that was silly, I can get rid of it. Text is another one you can use. Drag it over. Can't spell today. Pima. So I got Pima there, and I could change the font. What do we got? Not a lot of choices. It looks pretty good. I could play with the height and such with it right now. It's kind of going to make the bevel, joins it together a little bit. Stand it up if I wanted to. Also make it hollow, and then join them, and then go ahead and boom. So now I have a hole through it. Now, something very, things that you can do here in this digital world won't work in the 3D printed. Sometimes really fine details, small things, but this part of the A, that floating thing, that will not be floating in space. It will fall out. So you got to think about that when you're building stuff. Reality, imagine how it will look. Sometimes you can build things in the 3D programs that will not be, well, it'll try to print them. Sometimes it'll be way too complicated, but they just won't work. They'll fall apart because you're not dealing with actual gravity in this. So say you love that, and then you want it, what you'll do is export, hit export, and there's STL. It'll usually give it some sort of crazy name. And you can change that name, put your name on it, number 1, number 2, whatever, or a description. So when you send it to me, when we try to 3D print it, I'll know whose it is. All right. So that's pretty simple. There's a lot more, just kind of going through, and with those simple kind of things, you can do all kinds of different stuff. All right, take care.